Alrighty. What's going on, gang? This is going to be a bit of a rant kind of video, and if you don't want to see me kind of like go off, but not really go off. If you don't want to see me ranting, then you can go ahead and feel free to skip this one. But goodness gracious, it's so ridiculous that I feel like I have to say, hold on, let me roll that back because that sounds so self-righteous. It's so ridiculous that I felt like I had to talk about it at least a little bit. So, if you weren't aware, somehow you were living under a rock. Um, the FBI basically closed the case on Jeffrey Epstein in the past few days. They said that there was no client list. It was basically Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and that's it. No one else. They're not releasing anything. There's nothing to be seen here. Please forget about it. So forth and so on. And I'm not usually one to put on a tinfoil hat and, entertain conspiracy theories, but at this point, it's not even a theory anymore because if you didn't know, okay, let me backtrack. Jeffrey Epstein is one of the worst individuals to ever have drawn breath on this earth because he was sex trafficking minors on his private island, and I can't even wrap my head around something like that. But dude, the operation was so large, so many higher ups were involved, and by higher ups I mean like affluent members of society: Prince Andrew, Bill Gates, Donald Trump. Like, he basically masqueraded as a financier in New York, so helping billionaires do their avoid paying taxes. But that was just a cover up for him basically serving up underage girls against their will to these rich PDF files. Um, it's insane. Jeffrey Epstein is like 1,000 times worse than the diddler because with the diddler, I'm not even trying to like. I can't believe that he wasn't found guilty on like all of the things on all of 5 charges. By the way, that's insane to me. Like, please lock that nigga up and throw away the key. But Jeffrey Epstein trafficked children. He ruined young, not fully developed lives. He was in contact with Larry Nasser, who was essaying people on the women's gymnastics team. Like it's first of all, it's crazy how this is like all kind of connected, but it's also just like insane how you can be so fucked up, right? Like, dude, I've never been, but I heard if you take a trip to like Singapore and you've got money, you can have a great time. Why traffic people? Like, there are people who are willing to do it consensually for money, which you had a lot of. But I digress. So anyway, that nigga did, but there were and are questions about how he died. It was ruled as a self-deletion, but there was video released and there's a whole minute missing between 11:59 p.m. and midnight. And come to find out that everyone, like a private, entity within the FBI, I think, came out and said that the video was edited. So maybe he didn't self-delete and this is a cover-up because of course he's got you know, connects with a lot of higher ups. One of them sitting in the fucking Oval Office. Like, okay, sorry. I'm trying to not is what I'm doing. I'm trying to manage my thoughts and feelings. I am trying to sublimate the things that are going on in my brain. But so Donald Trump ran on the promise of releasing the Epstein files. He ran on the platform that it's a whole lot of freaky ass niggas out here and they need to be stopped and the people deserve the truth and all these other things, which is true, except for the fact that he's one of them. And before you say anything, because I did watch several videos on this, I absolutely refuse to subject myself to like deep diving this issue because it would just fuck my day up. I can't. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Like, you cannot ask me to read article after article about little girls basically being forced to do things to old, rich white dudes. Like, I'm sorry. I just refuse. But what I do know from what I've seen other people dig up, like, Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were very close friends for a decade. Now, is there a possibility that he didn't know what was going on? Sure. But he's been on Epstein's private jet. I don't know where they went because the flight logs aren't released, right? But if you're so innocent, why don't you just release them? Also, the reason why this is not sitting very well is because Donald Trump was secretly recorded saying, all you have to do is grab a woman by the pussy. Did we forget about that? Mr. Grab Them by the Pussy is the dude sitting in the White House. Did we just... Well, not we, because I never voted for that nigga. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Like, I try and stay away from, like, political issues because I don't want this channel to be about that. But I'm also not afraid to let everyone know where I stand politically. And I just don't fuck with that dude. I don't like him. Never have. Never will. I didn't vote for his ass. Fuck that nigga. And this is just another reason as to why. He thinks that you, the American people, are stupid. There's literal video and photo evidence of him and Jeffrey Epstein, like, clowning around, laughing and joking, being bestianas in the 90s when all of this was going on. Donald Trump he was convicted of sexual abuse. He had to pay $5 million. He was already convicted of sexual abuse. And then he appealed it in court and they upheld it. This nigga is not like us, bro. He's supposed to be the leader of the free world. You've already got him on tape doing some of the most shady shit imaginable. Trying to fake votes in Georgia. Trying to pay off Stormy Daniels. And he took an L in court that he essayed somebody, bro. Like, do you honestly believe that this dude is trustworthy enough to oversee files that he is undoubtedly named in? As a matter of fact, hold on. Because the victim that he was convicted of, like, that needs to be stated. Hold on, bro. Trump. This is ridiculous. Like, this is who y'all voted for, not me. Here we go. This was 2 days ago. Oh my fuck. This was 2 days ago. Court strikes down Trump's appeal in Carroll sexual abuse case. A federal appeals court has sided with the jury that found President Donald Trump liable of sexually abusing writer E. Jean Carroll in the 1990s and lying about the assault. The reason I emphasize the 1990s is because that's when Jeffrey Epstein was active with all this horrendous behavior. The three-judge Second Circuit Court of Appeals issued its mandate Thursday, affirming the May 2023 Manhattan jury's unanimous decision that Trump had sexually abused Carroll in a Bergdorf Goodman department store. Whoa, in a department store in 1996? He's so shameless with it. And awarded her $5 million in compensatory damages. He filed an appeal and lost. And that's not it. Oh my goodness. Okay. He argued the Manhattan District Court had erred when it allowed testimony from two other women who alleged Trump had sexually assaulted them in the past, and the notorious 2005 recording in which the president is heard on a hot mic telling another man how he forcibly kissed and grabbed women by their genitals. This is the nigga who said that there's nothing to see as far as Jeffrey Epstein is concerned. That dude. In January 2024, another civil jury found Trump liable for defamatory statements and ordered him to pay the writer $83.3 million in damages. So he's on the line for her for $88.3 million. This absolute goblin, the orange man, the hobgoblin, who told everyone that he would release the Epstein files. Then this is how I know he thinks that Americans are, or the American public is dumb, right? He thinks you're all dumbasses because not only did he promise to do it, he took the information that was already readily available with tons of redacted information and re-released it with more redacted information. So not only did he not do what he was going to say he was going to do, he's actively trying to cover it up even more. And this is why MAGA people hate him now. They're burning his hats. They're burning his MAGA hats like he's LeBron James after he said that he was taking his talents to South Beach. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it, bro. This nigga is a fucking monster who, I have no doubt in my mind, did some crazy shit back before there was the ability to trace cell phones like it is now, right? Like, if it was today, there would be almost no question. But we're talking back in like the 90s where motherfuckers had beepers, like a lot of flight information was written by hand. Granted, I knew there were computer systems that exist back then, but they were running on Windows 90. Windows 98 wasn't even out yet. Let that sink in. This man did all his dirt before Windows 98 came out. And as a result, it's up in the air. But if you have half a brain, you know that this nigga literally, like, if he wasn't president, had he not been reelected, I'm pretty sure. Well, no, because he and Clinton. So it's not even like, it's not a Republican versus Democrat thing. It is literally just a group of supremely fucked up people trying to cover up their fucked up shit. And it's gross. I just remember this. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry for getting animated, but like, Trump said that he would fuck his own daughter. Do y'all not remember that too? He said he would clap his own offspring. I'm gonna find that clip. Y'all think I'm playing. Y'all think a nigga playing, bro. I'm not playing today. You should feel insulted.
It would be really disappointing. Not really. But it would depend on what was inside the magazine. I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird.
Hold on, bro. Let me run it back. One more time, dog.
Really
this is his biological daughter.
It would depend on what was inside the magazine. I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird.
Y'all think this nigga wasn't on that island doing a whole bunch of crazy shit? He shouldn't even have been left alone in the same room as his daughter. But when he says nothing was going on with Epstein, y'all believe him? Come on, dog. She's really something. What a beauty that one. If I weren't happily married and you know her.
You know who's one of the great beauties of the world, according to everybody, and I helped create her?
Who?
Ivanka. My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body. Yeah, she's hot.
Bro.
She's got more or less legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell. Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
He would be incredible for women in this country. And
shout out to the Cut for putting that together. Dog. That motherfucker is sitting in the Oval Office. He has access to nuclear codes. He's apparently group texting people about missile strikes. He's fucking up the economy with his dumbass tariffs. He's literally on tape saying that he would clap his own daughter. And y'all think that he's not in the Epstein files? Are you serious right now? Okay, Coffeezilla he's covered this to the extent that I refuse to. So let's take a look and see what he has to say about all this. Shout out Coffee.
This is the worst cover-up of my lifetime, the Epstein case. The reason I'm talking about it so much is because if you can get away with this, you really can get away with anything. If the government can tell people to not believe what they just said a few months ago and have everyone be fine with that, that's just a level of gaslighting that I refuse to be a part of. Never forget, they just promised us names in the release of the Epstein files.
Breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released.
What kind?
A lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information.
Ain't getting none of it.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable.
Hidden and kept secret are literally the same thing. I hate when people do that. When they can't think of anything to say, they just repeat their points but in different verbiage. Notice how they said numerous individuals.
Yeah, well, apparently there are no names to be given. No list, no blackmail. Epstein has now been pushed as a lone trafficker. It's the lone trafficker theory, guys. Essentially, the government's memo that they just released contradicts everything we've seen before and now basically implies that Epstein was trafficking to himself and Ghislaine Maxwell was trafficking to Epstein, and there was no other blackmail or trafficking going on. That's what this memo essentially implies.
Also, it is widely known that, like the diddler, Epstein recorded everything. Please keep that in mind.
Wealth and his power then would be just from his skill as a New York financier.
I'm talking about Jeff Epstein, the New York financier.
Basically, he was the world's greatest tax advisor by day and the world's greatest trafficker at night to himself. And the rich and powerful people who all flocked to him and to his island had no idea of this double life. That really is kind of the heart of the modern theory, is that just all Epstein by himself, and then his friends just were there for his tax advice, despite not being a tax professional or a lawyer. Not only that, another huge revelation is the fact that really the government has increased the number of victims and decreased the number of perpetrators, right? We had the idea that there were these other perpetrators for a while, that they were just redacted because the government was building cases. Now we got pretty clear statements that there isn't evidence to bring future cases on third parties. But if you look at the original 2019 indictment, it says dozens of victims. This is from Ken Klippenstein. But the Epstein review says over 1,000 victims. So what happened, guys? And by the way, in the interim, they also increased the number to 200 to 250.
200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250 actually.
So we went from dozens to 200 to over 1,000 in the span of basically a year in terms of victims. We like 10x the number of victims. But now there's no perpetrators. Like the perpetrators have been reduced. That is the crazy thing about what they're implying here, what this lone trafficker theory is pushing forward. It's also strange because previously, Epstein, in a court filing, is said to have provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. Case agent advised that no federal prosecution will occur in this matter as long as Epstein continues to uphold his agreement with the state of Florida. So apparently there was some deal where Epstein was providing information to the FBI. What information? We don't know because no one else was involved. There's also the simple fact that if you go to the FBI,
which is insane. So basically, at that point in time, this nigga had an agreement with the state of Florida that basically said he would see no jail time if he snitched on everybody who came to the island. No wonder why he's no longer alive.
records, what they call the vault. Most of the files are just heavily redacted, so the idea that we got some transparency waived is literally a joke. Yes, it is true there's no Epstein list where there's like names written down, but names exist in documents, on videos, in images, and they're all redacted. What's going on here? They're gonna say, oh, it's all for the victims, right? But it's not all victim names. In addition to that, this lone trafficker theory is already on shaky grounds when you think about Prince Andrew's settlement with Virginia Giuffre, where he paid $16 million to make civil sexual assault allegations go away. Now, of course, it's worth saying that he did not admit to guilt. This was a settlement, but that is what you're always going to have with these rich and powerful people. In the same way, you also have Leon Black, who reportedly paid $158 million over 5 years to Jeffrey Epstein for tax advice. And guess what?
That nigga did that shit.
What? Leon Black, billionaire, also paid the U.S. Virgin Islands $62 million in cash as part of a settlement, a non-prosecution, where they wouldn't go after him for anything.
Dog.
From, quote, any and all claims of any nature
Think about how much money that
related
was.
to Jeffrey Epstein.
Because it was in the
noting
90s.
that $15 million
Almost
of this cash
200
payment
M's.
will be going to counseling programs and activities or mental health services. You
For
also have
tax
Justice Staley, the
advice.
former boss of Barclays,
In the
who directly
90s.
admitted to having sex with a member of Epstein's staff, which you would expect if someone was running a trafficking.
Hold the fuck up. How much is like a high-end tax advisor? I'm looking for a reputable source. Let's check something like Forbes. Let's see what they say. Here we go. According to the Association of Tax Professionals, someone living in an area with 10,000 to 50,000 residents, they paid an average of $189 per hour for tax help in 2021. Those that lived in areas with more than 50,000 people paid $209 per hour. Okay, so $209 per hour for tax help. Okay, that is 755,980.86 hours of tax advice. Let's divide that by 24. That is, oh my fuck. Now granted, the figure I gave you, the 209, that's in 2021. So it would have been even less in the 90s. For a 24-hour full day of tax advising, or I'm sorry, please forgive me. I'm hustling back. I'm doing this backwards. But basically, with this $158 million figure, if you were to break it down by the hour, it would be 31,499 days, not hours, days of tax advice. And it says over a 5-year period. So divide that by 365. 86 years. 86 years worth of tax advice is what $158 million will get you in 2021, not accounting for inflation in the 90s. Come on, bro. It's simple math. That shit makes no fucking sense. He paid 62 M's and he's like, leave me alone. Please don't get me in trouble.
Operation, although I just have to say that there was a statement that this was entirely consensual, and I'm not saying anything about that. I'm simply saying the idea that Epstein was just trafficking for himself is unlikely to be true, in my opinion. Later, Staley wrote to Epstein, "Say hi to Snow White." Epstein replied, "What character would you like next?" Staley responded, "Beauty and the Beast." And then Jeffrey Epstein said, well, one side is available. Obviously, some type of coded message. You can read into that for yourself. But all of this is public. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what makes the government's memo so infuriating. Is so much reporting has already been done. These settlements with powerful figures under denials, yes, but also under very questionable circumstances, make just a complete denial and statement that all of this was just Epstein impossible to believe. In September 2009, Epstein also emailed a woman named Irina to tell her that Jess Staley is staying in the Berkeley Hotel in London tonight. Staley emailed Epstein the next day to say, "I should have taken your offer," according to the Times. There's also this book by one of the 60 Minutes correspondents called A Ticking Clock, where he says that he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, and he said, "I want the tapes," I said to Maxwell at a table at Regency Bar. "I know he was videotaping
He's on cam.
everyone. I want the tape of Trump with the girls." She didn't deny the existence of the tapes.
The
but
orange
said,
man
"I
is
don't
on
know where
cam.
they are." He apparently replied, "Ask Epstein."
On
and she gave him a
Jeffrey
stern
Epstein's
look
island.
And pointed a finger at my face. "I'm the daughter of a press baron. I know the way you people think. If you do one side, you must do the other.
Y'all voted
If
for
you
that
get
nigga a
tapes on
second
Trump,
time,
You
bro.
have
That's
to do Clinton."
whatever.
Now, again, what you make of a third-hand source like this talking to Ghislaine Maxwell, who apparently
Meaning
doesn't
they
deny
exist.
some of
She just
this,
can't
was she
find
even
them.
telling the truth or just playing some game? Either way, this was all known about, not just by people after the fact, but allegedly by people during the fact. This is from Mark Epstein. It's sourced from Jeffrey Epstein.
And he,
quote, "If I said what I know
he
about
being
both
Trump,
candidates, they'd have to cancel the election."
went on
That's
the
what Jeffrey
on,
told me in 2016.
on
So not even
the circuit
Jeffrey Epstein
when he
or
was
Ghislaine
running for
Maxwell
president for the
allegedly
second term,
were claiming this was all just between them. They
mentioned
were constantly
that Bill
insinuating
Clinton
that there were
had a lot to be
compromising
worried
things
about.
on various
How
powerful
the
people.
fuck would he
What's
know
funny
that?
is that Trump himself, even before he was in a position to
Unless they
decide
tagged
this
each
stuff,
other in,
had
which is,
accused
again,
other powerful
disgusting.
people
But, like-
of doing these things.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion,
Granted,
with the famous
this is
island
public knowledge
with
about
Jeffrey
Clinton,
Epstein.
but it's also
That
public
island
knowledge about
was,
Trump.
really a cesspool. There's no
Listen,
question
man.
about it. Just ask
If you're not at least
You also have the fact
questioning
that Jeffrey Epstein was in touch
the
with other convicted
blatant
Larry Nassar,
disrespect
he was writing
for
letters.
people's
So
memory
the
and
idea, once
intelligence,
again, that
I
he
don't
was
know what to
just
tell
by
you.
himself, off by himself, doing things on his island by himself, and then taking calls with people like Bill Gates simply for philanthropic advice. Really,
She's sitting in jail right now for this shit, by the way.
Don't forget, a close associate of Bill Gates was named a fallback executor on the will of Jeffrey Epstein, which he, by the way, said he was shocked by and he deeply regrets, meaning Epstein. Bill Gates has said similar things to that effect.
This
Of
is
course,
Jeffrey
Bill Gates
Epstein's
fraternized with
brother.
Epstein after he was
His
convicted
own
of some
brother.
crimes. Previously, he told the Wall Street Journal, "I didn't have
Listen,
any business
listen to what he had to
relationship or
say.
friendship with him," but in fact, he met multiple times with him at his Manhattan townhouse. Now, once again, I have to say real quick, all of these people are innocent until proven guilty. All of them deny doing anything untoward. But my point is, there are already too many associations to make the lone trafficker theory make any sense. For example, Jean-Luc Brunel was somebody who apparently trafficked a bunch of people to Epstein, who himself abused a bunch of women and even was charged for it. He was charged for some really awful things and then later found dead in his cell. Interestingly, Epstein was actually a financier of Brunel's modeling agency, where a lot of this alleged abuse happened. So once again, the idea of the lone trafficker just doesn't make sense, because Epstein directly linked to another guy who was also abusing women. So after all of this, they're really asking you to believe the unbelievable. They're asking you to not believe what they've said about this case, both out of office and now in power. They're asking you to not believe public reporting linking Epstein to other known files. They're asking you not to believe suspicious circumstances regarding settlements of powerful people. They're asking you to believe that Epstein was just the greatest tax advisor and financial advisor on the planet that all of these billionaires needed to consult, despite the fact that there are entire organizations built around providing the same services as this without the, links to crimes. They're asking you to believe that when people are talking about Snow White and Beauty and the Beast, they're referencing Disneyland. And they're especially asking you to believe that they have found 900 new victims since reviewing these files and exactly 0 new perpetrators. So I'm just not buying it personally. I find it insulting to the intelligence of every single person who's ever looked at this story. And yeah, it really makes me feel like this was a appropriate time to launch a crime is legal merch collection, to be honest. So yeah, this is probably my last video on this for a while, but just disgusting.
Look, if that's not proof enough, then I'm sorry. I don't even know how you've made it this far in life. So, yeah, I'm out. I'm out.